Students were asked to add up all these numbers, sum it up, tell me what the numbers are. So take a moment, pause, and see if you can figure out what the answer is if you sum up all those numbers. Now I know that you probably didn't pause the video and sum it up, but I know that the answer is 49. I can click on B3. I'm holding down the Shift key, arrowing down. I'm holding down the Shift key, arrowing down. Again, holding down Shift key and using the arrows, so I'm holding down Shift and arrowing down so they're all selected. Once they're selected, in the bottom right corner you should see this little box down here that says sum is 49. That means if I sum all those numbers up, the answer is 49. Okay, so I can just type 49. Let's do that again. Oh, I can also click this and find out that the average is 3.76, the minimum is 2, the max is 3, and there's a total of 13 numbers. Okay, I don't want you to do that. We're actually going to write a formula to calculate the sum. So we're actually going to write a formula. So review from earlier this week, all formulas start with the equal sign, equals, sum, parentheses, equals, sum, parentheses. So we're going to tell it what we want to sum up. So I'm going to click on B3. Notice that it turned orange and it turns to B3. I'm holding down the Shift key and arrowing down. So now it says equals sum, parentheses, B3 colon B15. Close the parentheses. I'm going to read it again. It says equals sum, open parentheses, B3 colon B15. Close the parentheses. Colon is the same as through. So it says, hey, equals the sum of B3 through B15. I press enter, and the answer is 49. I'm going to get rid of the suggestion. All right, so we're going to do another formula very similar to that. It's going to say equals average, parentheses, B3 through B15. So again, equals average, parentheses, B3 colon B15, close the parentheses. Same thing for the minimum. Equals MIN, you don't have to do the whole thing, equals MIN for minimum, parentheses. Again, B3 through B15, close the parentheses. Maximum, B3 through B15, close the parentheses. Again, equals, this time count. B3 through B15, close the parentheses. So I'm not asking you to figure out how I displayed this. I just wanted you to see these are the formulas that I used right here. These are the formulas I used right here. If you need help, pause your screen and copy these over. Moving on to the height tab. Okay. We are going to figure out how tall in inches a 6 foot high tall person is. So if someone is 6 feet 1 inches, I want to know how many inches tall they are. So we're going to make a formula. The formula is going to start with equals. Now, just a side note, the formula is going to be like this. Equals 6, because that's the number of feet they are, times, by the way, that star is right above the 8, 12. Why 6 times 12? Because there's 12 inches in a foot. Plus 1. So we're going to make a formula that looks just like this, but we're actually going to have it be that cell. Like this. Equals, parentheses, that number, instead of the 6, we're just clicking that cell, times 12, close the parentheses, plus that number. Press enter. So again, it's the same formula except for instead of having a 6 times 12 plus 1, it says whatever's in that cell times 12 plus 1. Okay. What if the person's only 5'7"? That's how many inches they are. What if the person's only 5'3"? That's how many inches they are. The rest of this document spreadsheet is kind of empty right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the information from Google Classroom. So in Google Classroom, you were asked earlier in the period, how tall are you? So we're going to take this information that your classmates gave us, and we're going to chart it. So for this example, I'm using a third period. Your class period might be different. So there were 3 students that said they're 5 feet tall. How tall is a 5-foot person? 60 inches. Okay, so 3 people said they were 60 inches. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3. All right, next. One person says they were 5'1". 4 people said 5'2". One person said 5'1". 4 people said 5'2". So I'm adding 4 62s. I'm just making sure that's correct. Yes, that is correct. All right. 4 people said they were 5'3". 1 person said they're 5'4". 4 people said they were 5'3". 1 person said they're 5'4". 1 person said they're 5'5". That would be 65. I'm going to come back over here now. 2 people said 5'6". 2 people said 5'7". 2 people said 5'6". 2 people said 5'7". Nobody was 5'8". 3 people for 5'9". Just make sure my numbers are still correct. 5'9 is 69. 3 people for 5'9". 1 person for 5'10". 4 people for 5'11". Just make sure my numbers are correct. That is 71. And last but certainly not least, 1 person said they were 6 feet tall. Okay, so those came from your classmates. Take a minute right now and copy these numbers if you don't already have them. If you've got them, let's move on. Same as we did on the Sum It Up page. We are going to sum up these numbers. So equals, sum, parentheses. I'm going to select, using my arrow keys and highlight, from A3 through B16. Again, that says equals, sum, parentheses, A3, colon, B16, close the parentheses. All right, let's find the average. Equals, average, A3 through B16, equals, minimum, A3, colon, B16. Again, equals, maximum, parentheses. Again, I can click, hold down the shift to select those cells, close the parentheses. Equals, count, A3 through B16. Okay, the fact that we summed this up doesn't make any sense. Well, I don't know why we would ever stack everybody on top of each other to see how tall we are. But just in case you're curious, the height of everybody together would be 1,840 inches. Out of curiosity, equals 1,840 divided by 12. That's a little over 153 feet. Again, we'll probably never need to know that. The average height in the classroom is 65 inches. Now that number is kind of big. Can we make it smaller? Let's fix it so there's like no numbers behind the decimal. So I'm going to come up here at the top. I can click on more formats, this 1, 2, 3, and just tell it we want a number. That gives me 2 numbers behind the decimal. Or I could click this button right here, decrease the decimals, so now there's no numbers behind the decimal. Only because I think it's kind of an important number, I'm going to highlight that cell. Next, I want you to write me a sentence in D9 that says, out of the, I think there was 28. Yeah, 28, sorry. Out of the 28 students in class, the average height is blank feet and blank inches. I'm not telling you the answer. I want to see if you can convert it. By the way, somebody always kind of messes this part up. If you mess up, just realize that's just all in cell D9. It's just a really long cell. If you want to merge it so it's all one really long cell, you can, but you don't have to. So again, fill in that sentence, make a sentence that says, out of 28 students in class, the average height is blah, blah, and blah, blah, inches. And then we have one more tab to do. So once you've done that, down at the bottom left, click the plus sign to add a sheet. And we are going to calculate your GPA from last semester. So in A1, type the word period 1. In A2, type the words period 2. Now, spreadsheets recognize patterns. So I'm going to select these 2 cells. with those two cells selected, it recognizes a pattern. I'm going to come to this bottom right corner. I'm going to click on it and drag down. And it filled in the rest of the pattern for me. Let's see if it works for other patterns. Let's do 2 and 4 and 6. I'm going to hold down and select those 3 cells. Again, bottom right corner, hold down the mouse, and it's counting by 2s for me. Wonder if it does anything else. Let me erase those for a second. I'm going to type out January, Jan, February, F-E-B. I wonder if it'll pick that up. Again, bottom right corner. And again, it recognizes patterns. So just pay attention that it does recognize patterns. We're going to go to leave those. So take a moment and tell me what letter grades you got in your classes last semester. If you remember them, great. If you don't know, make a guess. If you don't know, make a guess. Let's just say those were my fake grades. Now, you don't need to type the following. I'm just going to put it on the screen so you know. The way they calculate grade point averages, it's based on this number system, which you probably have seen more than once. And it goes like this. For every letter A you get 4 points. So if you got an A in a class, in column C, give yourself a 4. If you got a B, give yourself a 3. If you got a C, give yourself a 2. Again, depending on what your letters are, give yourself the letter grade. If you got an F, you get 0. If you got an F, you get 0. So we're going to calculate your grade point average, your GPA. How do you calculate your GPA? Your GPA is an average. So same as we did on the previous sheets, equals average, parentheses. Select those cells, close the parentheses, press enter. Again, I'll rewrite the formula so you can see what it looks like. Equals average, C1 through C7, C1 through C7, close the parentheses. So that's what the formula looks like. When you're done, go ahead and fill the color of your GPA so I can see what it looks like. If you've completed all this, again, this was all I'm really looking for on this sheet. This is all I'm looking for on this sheet. Once you're finished, turn it in.